Out here at the field garden, just started the sprinkler on the corn side. Kind of excited. We still need to get the mulch, but some of the sunflowers are now coming up. So I need to plant more. We have our summer squash hill. Pumpkins, these are baby Pam. They're a really good baking pumpkin. Here are all the Romas. So they're doing okay. This guy didn't do very well right after the transplant. So I'll probably trim off the brown leaves, help him focus on good new growth. Look at that. And then for the corn, you can see all of the rows have come up, which is really exciting. But this bed here hasn't been planted yet. And then this bed is Bloody Butcher, which can be like minimum 10 feet tall. It's probably gonna be like 12 to 14 foot tall. These rows are, this is south down here and that's north up there. So east flavors. So we haven't been mowing down in the lower lot this year. I mowed just the trail. There's a kind of a trail entrance down in that back corner, and that whole line there is our blackberries and raspberries. And so try to keep that row clean. I should show you this. Jay put this together, or installed it, I should say. It was a 4-way split we had from last year. And so this one goes out to the sprinkler, which is over that way in the field garden. This one goes to the greenhouse, and this is actually goes lined up to this side of the house over there. So that was a nice thing, so we can turn the sprinkler on and off just by switching that nozzle. See how it really looks. Okay, so this, I'm at the point where we're coming in towards the end of this garden, and I looked it up, and I planted this garden April 14th, and my first salad we got out of it was March 13th. It's about a 30-day spring baby lettuce mix with spinach and lettuce, and then the kale came in. I planted kale a few days later, and the kale came in pretty quick as well. And now we actually are getting some carrots, which has been great, and also the beets. I'm trying to show you. We have been thinning them out by eating them, and then the scallions we're also eating. I did transplant over this romaine. We're letting this go a little bigger to full leaf lettuce instead. And then this row was spinach that had bolted this past weekend. So I went in, pulled it all, cut the good leaves off that were still there, and from there I oh, you can see here. Here's a good example of a bolt I missed. So that's spinach trying to flower. And so when it goes to flower, it gets really bitter. So like these leaves that are left on here would not be worth eating. I could let it go to seed and then collect seeds and do all that. I think I'm gonna wait. I haven't done much seed collection actually, so that's something I should probably try this year. But I may wait and do that next year, as we've got so much that. Also, we planted 2 of the tomatoes that are going to be in the greenhouse for the summer. So one Cherokee Carbon, this guy over here, and one Big Beef. This guy's already grown like 6 inches, I swear, since we planted him. So we need to set up some frame board here across. And so string, we can tie them down and do the lower and lean method. We do have the 40% shade cloth on in here, so it's not that bad. And we have the sides that get opened, and then we have the fan, and we leave the door open as well. But these tomatoes, last year we had 2 tomato plants in here all year, and we were getting tomatoes here in Massachusetts in zone 5B, all the way to, ooh, Jay left me a surprise. Always good to have surprises. This will become one of my new vermicompost in bed vermicompost buckets, as well as this guy. So we wanted to try a couple smaller ones so they wouldn't take up so much bed space. And then we also have the 5-gallon, hopefully soon. This is the current vermicompost bin. I'm gonna go grab a shovel real quick. Okay, so this is kind of gross, but I think it's fascinating. And actually, I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like ants have started to come in. Not sure you'll be able to see all of them. As there's lots of life in this, right? Good compost has lots of life. Bugs are not your enemy, even though they're kind of gross. And then these are all, I think, probably the butternut squash seeds that we had thrown in here. So we put like ends of carrots, green peppers. You can put white rice in here. Put all sorts of different things. But I don't know if you guys would have seen the earlier videos. I haven't actually removed much from here at all. So this is the stuff I put in a couple days ago, maybe a day ago. It's just some beets that we didn't end up using in our salad that went bad and we forgot about, which is not good. Some beet greens, some carrots, some leftover lettuce. There is, oh, I don't even know what that was. That looked like a stinging bug. With all of this, I don't know if I'll be able to get to them. The worms will be really far down now. In the earlier videos, it was all the way up to the top. And so what happens is, as the worms eat and poop and compress, all this stuff will drop down. And so you need to keep adding more. My goal was to let this one kind of fall out and get done. Because there are holes through, the worms aren't trapped in here. They can go in and out of the bed, and supposedly they do. As they move in and out, they'll also do some of their worm tea and all that fun stuff and move some of the soil out for us. But my goal was to finish this one off so that the new ones that Jay just gave me can go into this bed. Those peppers are all covering it up, but can go into this bed here, and we can start a secondary vermicompost while these guys finish off the leftovers here. I won't add any more for a little while. It should be less than a couple weeks. They should finish all of that food, which is crazy, and break it all down. So from there, we'll be able to dump this into the bed. Oh, there's a worm. I only put worms in to the vermicompost that I found either in this raised bed or in the yard or on the driveway. So we didn't actually purchase any. And I will say the worm population has exponentially increased. It's been fascinating. So the other day I had the trowel out, I grabbed a shovel, and it was pretty much all worms around a piece of squash. So it's fascinating to me. It's kind of nasty, but again, they're really, really helpful. And I'm excited to see how much that improves this whole raised bed. We also did add some composted manure on here, and some other organic fertilizers. I might do blood and bone meal, organic, that we got, which was on sale at the hydroponics store, since we're starting to get ready to plant this. And this again will be, the rest of this will be hot peppers. I may throw in a little bit of basil here and there, and some borage to try to keep the hornworms away. But the majority of the produce in here will be peppers besides these 2 tomatoes. So that's kind of exciting. Up potted some of these peppers that we brought out last week. They're now, for the most part, hardened off, I would say. Though it is deceiving because we're in 40% shade cloth, so they're hardened off to 40% of sun. But they do get a little bit of direct in the mornings and in the evenings. So these guys, they did get some sunburn, which was totally my bad. I know better than this. Is peach scotch bonnets here and here. And then this one is a Burmese bird. They probably need more water. I've got some flower starts there, some basil that I was hardening off, mucho nachos, which are jalapenos. Here are probably cayennes. Yeah, these are cayennes, serranos, and Thai chilies. All of more Thais. These are all going into our beds. Then we have some flowers that I bought, and some more alyssum, osteospermums. And then up here, some more borage, lettuce, and flower starts, and some osteos that I started, as well as some peonies. And then down here, we've got a whole mix of peppers also. These on the ground are actually all going into our garden, which is crazy. And then from the stick, the bamboo over, all of these are kind of up for grabs at the moment. So I think may have a few more people lined up to get some, which is good. The tomatoes and peppers here. All of these are getting picked up by my parents this weekend. They have guajillos and anchos and bell peppers, pepperoncinis, Cherokee carvings, cherry tomato, and I think it's MT Magic, and big beef. And then some mystery tomatoes that labels got lost. They're gonna take those. Down here we've got our strawberry. So we're just finally starting to get little berries. So the first flowers, because we weren't leaving the greenhouse open yet, I don't think we were getting enough pollinators in here, and I wasn't bothering to cross-pollinate the strawberries. I don't even know really what they technically need for that, but here's the second plant. So we did have some early success. Let's try to move this camera so you can see this. So these were like a cheap store-bought special last year, like last minute, totally just random purchase. So that was kind of fun to see that they actually overwintered here in the greenhouse in a pot, and so I planted them into the garlic bed. We have one red onion here. I'm just kind of letting grow. It had overwintered. And then the garlic is just absolutely massive. That's a normal sized table that's up off the ground in the raised bed. And these leaves are taller. I probably will have Jay do one more fertilizer of the seaweed fertilizer on these, maybe even tonight. And then that'll be it, as they will start going to scapes, I'm guessing here earlier, because they're in the greenhouse. This is the first year we're doing them in the greenhouse. So I'm curious how that will go, but they're absolutely gorgeous and very, very large. So the lower leaves do start to die back on garlic. That's pretty normal, so I'm not concerned with that, but we will fertilize them a little bit more just to keep them going. And as soon as they start going to scape, then you don't want to fertilize anymore, so they focus on the bulb. So here's the fertilizer we've been using. Bone meal, it's a 315-0, and BioLive was another, just to get the beds ready, 542. And then here's all my seed packets right now. I do have an organizer downstairs. I really should bring it back. And then I need to move all of these to get them washed, bleached, and ready for next year. So that's the greenhouse update. It's a bit of a mess. It's changing daily, and I keep moving things around, so it's always kind of fun. But these grow bags we need to fill, so I can do the next starts. Out here, it's coming along pretty good. These tomatoes are ones that are going to be going into a raised bed. The raised beds that we're getting, they're the tall 8-in-1 birdies beds. They're gonna go here, and we're planning on doing the last one on the east side. It's going to be two long and narrow, so doubles. They'll be about 2 feet wide, and then extra long because they'll be doubles, with the cattle panel over it, so we can grow our cucumbers up there. So that'll be fun. The late onion starts that I started in the greenhouse actually are doing a lot better than I expected. I never even cut these back. I just kind of let them go. So that's kind of fun. I started some lupin from seed. That's some bok choy starts as well. Might be, if we continue to get the heat, it might be a little too hot for us to get the bok choy to go. We need to add some straw to the beds, so they're having a hard time holding water. The compost is mulching on the top. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but basically it makes a strong crust, and so there's not that much weeds, but I need some more moisture getting held in there. So in this bed, I've actually planted a bunch of things. So we've got the main 6 tomatoes. We need to figure out a frame for that. But we also have some onions all the way around the outside. Some, you can kind of see these guys. I just planted some more bulbs just to finish out. We've got marigolds I started from seed. We've got lettuce that I had put in here. I need to put some more in as well. We've got borage and parsley and nasturtium, basil also in this bed. Let's see what else. Kind of a mixed bag here. Some more borage. Those are some form of seed starts. They're either beets or something else. I don't think they're beets though. Not really sure which ones they are. I didn't actually label anything. I just kind of put a bunch of seeds into different areas. I'm gonna let this grow, because what's gonna happen is I need to come back here and prune all these lower, well, these are suckers because they're gonna do an offshoot branch trying to have fruit. So I'm gonna prune all these, and this is gonna just have one main stalk going all the way up. And they'll go until the frost, as long as they're healthy and getting the nutrients they need. So that's kind of cool. Somewhere here, oh, I think it's the next bed. These are big beef. I do have my first little tomato. Oh, here's a little marigold bud from one of the ones I started. There's one over here that's kind of open. These are Cherokee carbons. Oh, that nasturtium is doing really well here. It's getting happy. There's some more, I think those are more bok choy. We've got some basil in here. We've got a mixture, again, of seeds of different things that I've put in. I think that's actually some lobelia there. Parsley, borage. And here's the first bud of the marigold that it's starting to open. Find the little baby tomato. Very small. But still exciting. I didn't allow them to bud up until I put them in the ground. So I did sprinkle some more of my onion starts that I started in the basement. So you'll see some of these are the red onion starts here. These are more Cherokee carbons. This one I haven't started any extra seeds in. So this may get more of the lettuce starts, since it's going to be too hot for the greenhouse. The next seeding of the lettuce will be in here. Cherry tomato is not doing well. I don't know what's going on with him. There was a little hole over here, so I'm thinking something actually probably ate some roots. But here we have a bunch of different things. I've got some seeded items. I put some of the really short carrots in here. I heard that was really good. I put some beets and some what else did I do? Maybe some radishes. It's a specialty radish, not a normal radish, a white one. And then I think Epic Gardener had sent us those seeds, so we'll try those. And then there might be some lettuce all starts in here. It doesn't look like it. Not sure what else. I really should have written it down, but I'll know pretty quick here in the next week or so. But a bunch of, somewhere between 40 and 60 day crop to go on the bottom. And again, you can see that I'll continue to prune these tomatoes and keep them long and lean, basically, which is good. But there's onions and borage and marigolds and nasturtium and basil also in those. Here we have the long row of grow bags. Jay was not as excited about this as I was, but because we were worried that the next set of the raised beds were going to be here in a few weeks, not this coming Tuesday, we got a little nervous, and I wanted to make sure that these peppers that were starting to get root bound got into a larger pot of some sort. So grow bags were the easy solution. So most of these are guajillos, anchos, and pepperoncinis, I think, for types. Yeah, this is a trident ancho, so poblano. This is really exciting. For Memorial Day, we're going to be eating summer squash, which is so exciting. There's another one over here. So this was my experiment that I started in the grow bag in the basement. Then I moved it out to the greenhouse sometime in March. I think started them early March, moved them to the greenhouse at the end of March, and they took off. And then it started getting hot in the greenhouse, and I needed more space. And temperatures are staying above that, 45 degrees at night. So moved it out here, and it is just taking off. I also had to kind of pry open the male flower that wasn't open yet when the females were all blooming, to make sure it pollinated, and it looks like they all actually pollinated, so that was a great experience. If you're curious, here's the smaller, this is a butterbelly summer squash. These are males because they don't have the bulbs here of the plant, whereas this one is a female, and you can also see the inside. I don't know if you'll be able to see that there versus the inside in one of the male flowers, which is kind of more compact and tall and lanky. So just need to have them open at the same time, or you can kind of lightly pry open the flower and put your finger in there, or a Q-tip or something like that, and get the pollen off of one and move it over of the male and move it to the female. These cucumbers are doing better. Jay had fertilized these with some of that the watered down liquid leaf fertilizer to get some, and I think that's helping a lot. There's way too much in this bag. They were supposed to be short term, and we just changed our garden plan a little too many times. So these are two different types of cucumbers. So we'll see how they're doing here in another few weeks. Hopefully we can get them transplanted into the big beds. I might need to either purchase some. I'll probably end up purchasing some extras just in case. And then here's more of the peppers. The last two boxes are wildflowers for pollinators. And then we did plant the whiskey barrels, and this is cosmos, nasturtium, and onions. Maybe an odd mix, but and this is mostly, I want to say mostly zinnias. I think there are a couple of nasturtiums in here, and then some petunias that I purchased just for sides. Over here we have our potatoes. These are the red chieftain potatoes that I actually planted before my early potatoes, which is kind of backwards, but it's fine. So they're coming up really well now. I probably maybe this weekend, maybe next week, some point I will put another layer of straw down and we'll build that straw up a little bit more. I'm not going to put any more dirt on. I know some people mound them up. That is not in my plans. I did stick a couple small little basils in here. Supposed to help with some of the pest control. The borage was not doing very well, so I don't know if I'll have to pull that. And these guys are spinach that I started. So you can start seeing some of the true leaves are coming through. Over here we've got this whole kind of L shape here is peas. So we'll kind of let those hang over the sides. This other tall, these two beds are actually considered 9-in-1s of the raised beds. We got these two at Gardener's Supply versus the rest of them we all purchased through Epic Gardening. You guys watch YouTube at all or social. Kevin is great over there at Epic. We wanted to see what the height was like before we bought a lot of them. And Gardener's Supply being a Vermont company I've known about for forever. We decided to try some from there. Oh, I should note this. So straw will seed, but it's not that bad if you stay on top of it. And they come up really easy because they're on top. You didn't bury the straw, right? So every couple days or so, I just pick out like 2 or 3 of these. It's not that much considering. And then once the potatoes start showing in this bed, these are the dark red Norwood, I think. They're the early potatoes from the main potato lady. In here, there's 5 pounds that I put in this raised bed. It's not small, but it's not that big either. So they're a little crammed in there. And then I did beans, bush beans along the edges. And so those should start coming up here relatively soon. I did push one of them back down. It had come up, the whole bean was getting pushed up. So here's one. So yeah, they're right on track. Oh, here's a good one. So I planted those last weekend or so, I think. We planted some asparagus, which is kind of exciting, but we know we didn't actually do it properly because this little whiskey barrel is not quite big enough for the amount of crowns that I put in there. I did do the trench method where you actually kind of build a little trench across the whole thing and you divide the roots over both sides and you leave the crowns kind of sticking up here. You can kind of see these. So about 12 crowns have got put into this small whiskey barrel. So we'll see how they do. If they do great, awesome. But we may actually take one of the tall beds and do half a bed as asparagus with some more roots that we have and some seeds and do a longer term solution. I realized today that I have 40 tomatoes already in the ground, which is pretty exciting. There's 25 over here, there's a couple in the greenhouse, and then the rest over in the field. So that's a little crazy to me. The peppers that are out here are doing fine. We do have a couple nights next week that look like they're going to be about 43 or so. Those ones that are in the bags will probably just go in the greenhouse. We'll just close up the greenhouse before it drops temp, so before the sun goes down. But it's kind of exciting. I love this time of year. I didn't even go over all of these bags here. We're eating carrots daily. We did take out the spinach bag. We just had a couple days that were close to 90 and the spinach just bolted, which is as expected. It doesn't like hot weather.